In this video, we'll be revising the combustion of alkanes. So in this video, by the end you need to understand what complete and incomplete combustion are and be able to write equations for both. Know the different types of air pollution that are created and where they come from, and know how these type of air pollutants are removed from the air. So first, complete and incomplete combustion. So the difference between these two types of combustion is based on the fact that the combustion needs oxygen for it to happen, and if you have a limited amount of oxygen, then only incomplete combustion will happen. For complete combustion to happen, you have to have a plentiful supply of oxygen. So for complete combustion, you need a plentiful supply of oxygen. And if you don't, then incomplete will happen. So that's where you have a limited supply of oxygen. Now, if you have a limited supply of oxygen and incomplete combustion happens, then instead of making carbon dioxide and water from your alkanes, then you're going to make water and carbon monoxide, and sometimes just carbon or soot. Now, carbon monoxide is poisonous to humans, and soot can cause problems for asthmatics. So if you were to write equations both of these, you get given a compound to do it, to write an equation for. So let's say butane, which is C4H10. So for complete combustion, you would get C4H10 plus O2, and that's sometimes something that people miss off. They miss off the oxygen, and that's going to make carbon dioxide and water. And then all you've got to do is balance it. So you're going to have 4 carbon dioxides, 5 waters, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5 O2. Now you can write 6.5 if you want to, but if you didn't want to, you could just double them all up. For incomplete combustion, you will get instead C4H10. You're still reacting it with oxygen, but this time you're going to make carbon monoxide and water. And we need to balance that. 4 for carbon monoxides, 5 waters, and then you'll also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 O2. So now we move on to different pollutants that we find in the air, and 3 of these different pollutants all come from the internal combustion engine, so from cars basically. And so these 3 things are NOx compounds. What that means is basically different oxides of nitrogen. And the main one that you will talk about is nitrogen monoxide, and this can cause photochemical smog and also acid rain. Another pollutant that is caused by the engine is carbon monoxide, as we were talking about before. If there's a limited supply of oxygen to a burning alkane, then carbon monoxide can be formed in incomplete combustion. And as an engine doesn't really get a huge supply of oxygen, so carbon monoxide is formed, and so this can cause, well, this is poisonous to humans. The last pollutant are basically hydrocarbons in the petrol that don't get burned, they just come out the other end, so unburnt hydrocarbons. And they can cause cause respiratory problems, and also smog. Another pollutant of air comes from our burning of coal, and the reason for that is that when we burn coal, one of the impurities of coal, sulfur, also burns with it. And if we burn sulfur, then what we get is sulfur dioxide. And sulfur dioxide can cause acid rain, which would then acidify soil, which can kill plants, and can also acidify lakes, which can kill the animals in the lake. Another pollutant of air comes from cows, and that pollutant is methane. And that is a major contributor to the greenhouse effect, along with carbon dioxide from burning fossil fuels and water vapour as well. All of these gases trap infrared radiation coming from the sun. So the sun shines down and sends infrared rays, which then, when they're in the atmosphere, they bounce off the Earth and then get trapped by these gases. These gases absorb the infrared rays and therefore heat up the Earth in doing so. So how can we get rid of these gases? Well, here is a picture of a catalytic converter, and this gets rid of the gases that are made by an engine. So what goes in is your carbon monoxide and nitrogen monoxide, and they react on the surface, which has a honeycomb structure or a zeolite structure. And the reason it has a zeolite structure is because it therefore it has a bigger surface area, and it's made of platinum. And then what comes out is carbon dioxide and nitrogen. Now, while it's on the surface, what happens is carbon monoxide reacts with the nitrogen monoxide, and that creates your nitrogen and carbon dioxide. So one place that sulfur dioxide is created is in coal-fired power stations, because the sulfur impurities in the coal will burn and create sulfur dioxide, which will then be released out of the cooling towers. But before it goes out of the cooling towers, we could trap it in the cooling tower before it's released. And we can do that chemically by reacting the sulfur dioxide with calcium oxide, which will then create calcium sulfite, CaSO3. With this calcium sulfite, we can then oxidize it to create calcium sulfate, which is gypsum, which can then be sold for plasterboard, which makes this whole process more profitable. We've created another product that we can sell from the waste or pollutant gas, sulfur dioxide.